Nothing short of absolute drama. But honestly, what do you expect in this case with all of its twists and turns? I'm talking, of course, about the case where Atlanta prosecutors allege that Williams is one of the founders.
So, yeah, look at Thug right there. You know, when he went into jail, he was like 140 pounds and he's 6'3". I've actually seen him in person in Atlanta. I'm like 6'4". So yeah, he's a tall guy, but now I think he's well over 200 pounds. What's going on, Thug? Maybe he's just so depressed he's not trying to exercise. He just stays locked up in his cell. But let's continue and get to this reaction of YSL Booty.
Of YSL, or Young Slime Life, which they claim is a criminal street gang that has been terrorizing the city. It's part of a wide sweeping racketeering or RICO indictment where Williams and his co-defendants are charged with numerous crimes. The defense says that this is just a record label and there's nothing more nefarious that's going on. Now, this trial has been a little bit of a circus because, for one thing, it has been going on for what, almost a year and a half? And by the way, almost a year of that was jury selection alone. Well, now, one of the witnesses that we had been anticipating and that we were looking forward to hearing from was Kenneth Copeland. He had been mentioned many times in prior testimony and was seen speak.
And for those of you who don't know who that is, that guy on the screen is YSL Booty. He's gotten pretty famous since this trial. Let us proceed.
With police in an interrogation tape that leaked online. He was supposed to be a star witness for the prosecution because he had previously told investigators that Williams was connected to criminal activity. But if prosecutors thought they were going to have pretty solid evidence in the form of Copeland's testimony, or it was going to be smooth sailing, they were disappointed. Why do I say that? Well, Copeland, who also goes by the nickname Woody or Lil Woody, was very uncooperative from the beginning. Before he was even called to the stand on Friday, June 7th, his attorney announced to the court that he didn't want to be there and he didn't want to testify.
So, Your Honor, Mr. Copeland is here. I can state as his attorney that he intends to exercise his Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. He does not wish to testify in this trial. And I would ask, there is no other, he's not on bond, he's not on probation, there's nothing like that. I would ask that he be allowed to leave this courtroom without being compelled to testify.
Okay, now the prosecution had given Copeland what's called use immunity, and that means
yeah, which is ridiculous because, like, if you're not going to testify and they're giving you this immunity, then pretty much you're saying you're not going to cooperate with the deal and you're going back to jail. So, or you can be charged for the crimes that they know about you. But let's see what the attorney here is going to say.
That whatever he would say on the stand during this trial couldn't be used against him legally. Well, at least by the state. It seems there's some concern, maybe on Copeland's part, about whether he could end up with federal charges. But anyway, putting that to the side, when you're granted use immunity and the court compels you to testify, you really can't plead the Fifth anymore because your right against self-incrimination is essentially protected.
What's your pleasure?
Yes.
Say what?
I said, what's your pleasure, sir? Do you wish to give testimony? I know you don't want to give testimony in this case, but you've been given immunity in this particular circumstance, use immunity. So are you going to testify?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Copeland, good afternoon. Do you want to be here?
Ma'am?
Do you want to be here?
I'm here.
Okay. Are you going to let me ask you some questions?
Okay.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what?
By the way, Woody has given us some of the greatest comedic moments of the internet and television. And, you know, this trial is still going on for, like, I think it's at, like, its 145th day or something like that. But, yeah, let's get into Woody and let's get ready to laugh. Let's go, Woody.
Number and years are you?
I plead the Fifth.
Mr. Copeland, given the fact that you have invoked your Fifth Amendment privilege, but the state has already given you immunity under 24-5-507, this court holds you in willful contempt, and we'll see you on Monday. And we'll see if we can get some more testimony at that point in time. Take him into custody.
Yep, Copeland was held in contempt of court and he was taken to the Fulton County Jail for the weekend.
Yeah, and I don't understand, like, if you are immune to anything that you've done and you can't be charged, well, I guess it goes back to the fact that he doesn't want to be labeled a snitch. But Woody, I think it's too late for that. Okay, so let's continue.
And he was back on that Monday, and this time he at least answered questions, but getting the answers that the prosecution wanted was a little more difficult. I mean, even on basic questions like, how old are you, or where did you go to school, proved to be complicated.
And when you were younger, did you go to school?
Yes.
Where did you attend school?
I don't know. I went to a lot of different schools.
Okay, what are all the schools you went to?
I don't recall all of them.
Or just tell me some of them.
I only know one, Slater,
Slater, is that elementary school or middle school?
elementary.
Why you don't remember what middle school you went to? Did you go to middle school?
I think I did.
How long did you go to? Did you finish middle school?
And honestly, I don't understand why he's being difficult with these questions. These questions don't hurt anyone. They don't snitch anyone out. But I guess that's part of Woody and his appeal to the public, how he is being difficult answering these the prosecution's questions. Let us continue.
Overruled.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Did you go to high school at all?
Yeah.
All right.
By the way, let me give you some context here. According to the prosecution back in 2015, several of the YSL defendants were involved in the murder of Donovan Thomas, also known as Big Nut, an alleged rival gang member. Now, Shannon Stillwell and Diamante Kendrick, two of Williams' co-defendants in this trial, they have been charged in connection with the shooting, and Williams himself is accused of renting the car that was used in that alleged murder.
And that is so ridiculous. Why would Young Thug rent a car in his name? Well, first of all, you shouldn't be trying to kill people anyway. But if you're going to do it, why would you rent the car in your name and give it to the people who are doing the actual murder? It's ridiculous. Let's continue.
Prosecution, they needed Copeland to confirm that he knew these men, but even that was like pulling teeth.
Can you take a moment and look at those pictures? Please look at those pictures.
Do I have to look at them?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm going to start first with Stacy's Exhibit 350 Yankee. Tell me if you recognize individual in Stacy's Exhibit 350 Yankee.
I recognize myself.
Okay. Do you recognize anybody else?
There he goes.
Myself.
Do you recognize?
Oh, Woody. Yeah, man. You know what? So I saw a lot of this trial already and a lot of this with Woody. I'm surprised they did not just re-sentence him and send him back because he was extremely difficult all throughout this trial. Just keep watching.
Anyone else in 350 Yankee?
Their faces covered up.
Okay. Do you see someone's face who's not covered up in 350 Yankee?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recognize who that person is?
I can hardly tell.
Okay. Is that Shannon Jackson? Your Honor, at this point in time, I'm turning to impeachment. Do you know someone by the name of Demekion Garlington?
Street name,
Little D.
for sure.
Oh. And if you didn't understand what he said street name, meaning street name. That is Atlanta lingo. That's how, not me, but that's how we talk out here in the A. Let's go.
How do you know Little D?
I didn't birth him.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I almost birthed him.
You almost birthed him?
Yeah.
Tell the jury, what do you mean by that?
I mean, he my son.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Do you know another person who's referenced as Little D?
What you mean?
Do you know someone who's called Little D from Cleveland?
Oh, I heard of him.
You heard of him. Okay, we'll talk about him in a moment.
You said what now?
Tell me who you recognize in 380 Yankee.
Oh, me and Coco,
Who's Coco?
the ugly boy right here.
Okay.
And the prosecution also needed
Translation, he said, this ugly boy right here. Yeah, that is Woody. Wow.
to connect Copeland with Williams himself. So they tried to get Copeland to give evidence of their friendship, but Copeland appeared hesitant.
My question is, when he was not in the studio and you hung out with him, where would you hang out with him at?
We used to do fun stuff, like go to like bowling alleys and stuff like that. He went to the kids' football game, I remember. I've been to the club with them. I've been on shows, I meant, correct that.
You said on shows?
Yeah, like when I watch him perform.
All right.
Now, Mr. Copeland and his testimony, or lack thereof, it had a bit of a ripple effect. Why do I say that? I say that because according to Williams' lead defense attorney, Brian Steele, he was told that the judge, the prosecution team, Copeland, and a stand-in attorney for Copeland were all part of an ex parte meeting, which is when they meet secretly in the judge's chambers, one-on-one with the judge. The defense is not present. And the defense...
By the way, this attorney for Young Thug goes off on the judge, stood his ground going off on the judge. He asked the judge to recuse himself, meaning to not be the judge any longer and let another judge take over. And the judge refused to, but in the end, this attorney got his way. Check it out.
defense argued that this was highly improper to have a private meeting with a sworn witness when they had no idea this was going on, especially when some of what Copeland allegedly said, namely that he would confess to being responsible for the murder of Thomas, or that the judge and prosecutor allegedly pressured him in that meeting to testify or face jail time. The defense said that that information we should have been privy to. Now, Judge Earl Glanville only wanted to know one thing from Brian Steele. How did you find out about this? How did you find out about this meeting? Steele wouldn't give up his information. He wouldn't give up his source. He cited privilege, that doing so would violate the Georgia bar rules. And so an angry Judge Glanville held him in contempt of court. He originally was supposed to report to jail this weekend to begin a 20-day stint.